think Sinners is one of those moments where it's like, this is why you go to a movie theater to see a movie. Bing bong. So I saw Sinners about 4 days ago, and I have spent that entire time continually thinking about the movie. I cannot get it out of my head, and I've been trying to think about what I wanted to say about a movie like this. And really, I think what's sticking with me about this movie after I've seen it, after I've seen the discourse online, before I saw it, after I saw it, there's something happening right now in the movie world. I think Sinners is marking a very interesting point in where we are when it comes to going to the theater and having a movie theater experience and feeling like you got your money's worth, all things that describe a movie like Sinners. What's really interesting is the impact it seems to be having on so many people, because a lot of times you see a movie and it's fun when you're there, and then you go home and you do something else and you kind of forget about it. Even movies that you really like, they don't always stick with you in that way, but Sinners is one of the few cinematic experiences I think that I can remember in a very long time. In fact, there is a scene, as I was thinking about like how do I do a review on a movie that has so many reviews already and I'm just a random person on the internet. But there's a scene but I really wanted to talk about a specific moment in the movie that I think anyone who's seen it will know what I'm talking about and feel what I'm talking about, but also people who haven't seen it, if you do, you'll know exactly what that moment is. But there's a scene in Sinners where you don't notice until it starts to get going that it is taking you on one of the most creative, insane rides that a movie can achieve. I think it's one of the most creative scenes I can remember ever. And I know some of that is probably recency bias, but a lot of it is also just, it's that good. The scene is that good. And it encompasses the history of lots of different music and lots of different culture, lots of different history, and what a lot of that experience has been for the people who've gone through it. But more so, I was just like stunned that anyone was even creative enough, as we, constantly have this debate over like, where are all the original movies? Originality feels like it's disappearing in sequels and prequels and all that. It was one of these sequences where you're just like, who thinks of this? Who thinks of the idea? But then how do you even comprehend executing such an original sequence in a movie? And Ryan Coogler has just, I think, really cemented himself as one of the greatest directors of our time. He's made a lot of great movies so far, but they've all been tied to real world things, the Black Panther movies or the Creed movies. But this is like the first instance of, I don't know where he's thinking of this. I don't know where he's getting these ideas from for how to make a movie like Sinners, because so much of it makes sense. Like, if you haven't seen any of the trailers, obviously there's a certain entity in this movie that I'm not necessarily a fan of. Quick spoiler, so just mute this part right here. Vampires, not really a vampire guy. But in this movie, you fully understand why the main villains are vampires, and also you understand that the villain idea is a little bit debatable, because there's certainly aspects of this film where the villains are trying to convince everyone else that, hey, if you join up with us, it's actually a better situation for you, which, again, there's just a lot of historical depth to a movie like Sinners. But I think that's also what makes me really happy to see the dialogue surrounding this movie is like, I mean, obviously, any movie that gets a lot of praise will also eventually get people who are like, well, it actually wasn't that good. And like, okay, look, I think that most of those people are full of shit. I think they're just contrarians, that it's more popular to make a video about why you didn't think the movie was that good, or write an article about why you didn't think it was that good, and discounting everything the movie is accomplishing. But it really is just like cool to see so many people who I don't even know how many of them go to the movies that often, but to see them so impacted by a movie like Sinners. And I think that's also one of the coolest aspects about it, is that Sinners is one of those rare films that it's not just watching it. It's a feeling that this movie gives you. It just makes you feel. And like everything from the incredible acting, obviously, I think highlighted by Miles Canton, who sings and plays the guitar, and this is like his first ever film role. Incredible, because he seems like he's probably going to win an Oscar. To the soundtrack, which, there's the debate that Sinners could probably have just been a musical. This is one of the best soundtracks I've heard in a long time. It was incredibly well done. It seems like, based on all the behind the scenes stuff, it was really the actors singing, which is just amazing. I don't know. It's weird because it's like, this is a hard movie to review. You don't just want to conventionally approach it like, oh yeah, this was good and that was good and cinematography, blah, blah, because all that's true. But lots of movies have great cinematography and acting and music and all that. Where Sinners is separating itself is the feeling that it leaves you with afterwards, because it's not always straightforward. There's a lot that you need to research or think more about, what they were metaphors or analogies for certain things. There are some things that it blatantly tells you that are, there's no reason to look deeper. Like, they're just saying like, hey, here's what it is. There's a lot of elements of it that feel like they're trying to make up for issues that the film world as a whole have had for a long time, or certain cultures have had, and are trying to sort of reshape how certain things are perceived, or change a dialogue completely. And that's really ambitious. Like, don't get me wrong, this movie's long. It's about 2 hours, 20 minutes. It's not that long. It's not long enough to be reshaping entire historical dialogues. But to even attempt a lot of the things that Sinners is attempting is truly impressive. I don't know if we'll get a sequel. I don't know if a movie like this needs a sequel. I think that one of the areas it excels the best is sort of in that same Jordan Peele zone, where I just want to see more of Ryan Coogler's original ideas. Like, I remember Jordan Peele saying when he got the green light for Nope and the $100 million budget, that was like his lifelong goal, was to get a huge budget for an original movie. Ryan Coogler's done it too. And that's really, really cool to see, because, he cut his teeth on a small movie like Fruitvale Station, which was phenomenal. I think up until Sinners was probably my favorite movie that he's ever made. And then the Creed movies are great and the Black Panther movies are great. I think that Sinners, if Warner Brothers had believed in this movie just a little bit more, like they already believed in it enough to give him $90 million to make. If they had believed in the vision enough to market it heavier than they did, I think this is a high $100 million, $500, $600 million movie. I think that it has that same shift to movie-going culture that Black Panther did, where people were going on field trips to see it. And like, this is one of those movies where it's like, yeah, it's definitely a little too graphic to take a bunch of elementary school kids to go. But it is also equally important. Like, I think, and even with the deal that Ryan Coogler has to get the movie rights back in 25 years, like, I think just culturally, this is one of those movies that is going to age very well. I think it's going to be increasingly important just in the world to exist. And I think Ryan Coogler is one of those directors who, if he wasn't already the type of person where you see he's involved in the movie and you're like, I'm going, I see his name, I'm going, right? For me, it's like Bong Joon-ho, Christopher Nolan, people like that, where like, if I know they're involved, I'm going to go see the movie. I think Ryan Coogler is on that level. And I think that a lot of people who maybe are not hardcore moviegoers, hopefully will go see his next movie now, just based off Sinners. If you weren't familiar with his work and now you are, the next movie he makes, hopefully people go see it. And lastly, I think Sinners is hopefully a turning point, similar to where we thought Oppenheimer would be, but maybe it came out a little too close to the pandemic. I think Sinners is one of those moments where it's like, this is why you go to a movie theater to see a movie. Everything about it is a movie theater experience. This is a great movie on its own. It is absolutely incredible. It is a phenomenal movie theater experience movie. For the casual movie-going audience, those are the people that we're trying to get to go to the theater, because people that go all the time or have AMC A-list or all these subscriptions, they're going to go no matter what. They'll see anything. People like me will go see anything. But trying to get that casual movie-going audience that would wait till streaming, that would wait till it's on digital or whatever, to go now, to see it in the theaters, to have that full experience that Ryan Coogler intended. And the fact that people are doing that, that is amazing to see. As someone who loves movies, as someone who loves going to see them in the theater, that's really cool to see. And I just can't wait to see what Ryan Coogler's working on next.